All right. Kind of hoping you can hear me. I'm just live a few minutes early so I can see if it's all. Let's see. I assume I can be heard. Hopefully, my crazy loud air conditioner isn't coming through. Rocking. Okay. All right. It looks like there's one person here. I'm going to step away for a second and then I'll be back and we'll get this started. Okay, can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, sound off in the comments. There is about a 15-second delay, but also. Hi, John. Um, can you hear the air conditioner that's running? It's loud and obnoxious here, but the noise suppression should be okay. Perfect. Yeah, well, you like the screwdriver. Chiplet just came in the mail today. You can't really see them. I got the cargo pants too. All right, for people who didn't watch the video, which, let's be fair, I know is John, um, I'm going to do an install of the PS5 version 6 as well as all the soldering. And when I'm done, that's one of the PSPs that's going to be, or the PSPis that's going to be given away. It'll probably take an hour, give or take. So if you're not interested in watching the assembly, you pop back in about an hour. But otherwise, let's get into it. First step, we're going to pull out battery. Battery we don't need. I'm going to get a box. Actually, use this crushed just to put all the stuff that we're not going to be using. So the battery doesn't get used. We do need that. Oh, just so everyone's aware, no, you're not getting one with this crop screen. I have a good screen here. There's a good front faceplate here. SD card in this one. All right, so we're just going to start with screws. And there's 3 screws along the top. 2 in the battery compartment here. And 1 on the side over here. John, this screwdriver is a game changer for doing the PSPs because regular precision bits don't go down properly. There's one here. And here, if you're doing a mod like this on your own PSP, there's likely a warranty void sticker over top of this screw. But I mean, I don't think I own a PSP with a warranty void sticker still on intact. And then there's one more screw right here. I'm going to take off the joystick. Pop that off. Put these out and set to the side. I'll take these out and set to the side. There's 2 screws for the joystick. Make it solid. Just happened. So we take off the button bar. And then we take out the display. The display is a pain in the butt. If you got a broken PSP, you don't have to worry, just like rebone it and pull it out. This one's not technically broken, so I save all the parts. But it goes in with clips, so it's kind of a pain. John, you watching Land Show tonight? Two zip connectors. One pops to the top, one pops to the bottom. And that goes in the box. We don't use that either. And this, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws in this part. Remember, there's one of these screws we don't use. And a few of those ones we don't use. Drop the screwdriver, that's always good. I'm a professional. It should be here. And we keep that. Oh, upside down for the whole thing. Yeah, so now the zip connectors here. This one's got two little clips, one on either side. Pull that out. This one pops up. That up. This one also pops up. Comes out. That's it for this part. So now we can take off this. This one pops to the left. Hey Tyler. So right now I'm taking apart a PSP 1000 so we can upgrade it for the PSPi. And this one's one of the ones that's going to be given away. So I'll be giving away two of them. This one when we're done with it, as well as this clear shell, which I just turned on, pulling it open. That's always good. So it gets a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 in it, as well as a 128 gig SD card. And it can run one of four, I guess, five operating systems. You can get Batacera on it, RetroPie, Laka, Recalbox, or you can just get desktop Raspberry Pi or Pi OS. Wait till this one finishes booting and then power it back down again. I did a little bit of repair work on the clear shell for this one, so like it feels a little bit better, so it's not as crap as I kept telling everybody it was. So it's not a bad choice anymore. I still think that it's a PSPi that you'd want for putting on a shelf instead of like a daily use. But if you want something daily use, the black shell is better. This one will be okay. When I do the draw, I'm drawing 4 names. The first name drawn gets choice of black or clear. The second name drawn gets whatever's left. The other 2 names drawn are for backups because the software or the draw program that I'm using doesn't allow me to just like see everyone that was there. So if I don't get a response or something like that from the first name drawn, I move on to the second name, and then I can move down to the 4. If out of the 4 people, there's still 1 PSP left, I guess I'll do another giveaway because they're getting given away. The board that we're installing right now was actually donated by other mod for this reason. Yeah, the clear is really nice, but you can tell just the feel. It feels a little cheaper. Even things like the UMD door. I can push it open with my hand and I have to slide the thing in to get it to close. But it used to just pop open if you were sitting there every once in a while, so it's a little better now. But yeah, the tolerances on these aftermarket shells are just not very good. Okay. So we leave this board, and just those 2 boards in, as well as the Wi-Fi cable here. They all attach to the new board. So we take out speaker cables. Which are kind of a pain in the ass to get. Granite Rocky, I didn't see your message before. I've cannibalized. Let's see. This is my box of functioning PSPis at different states of mod. So this one's the one that I'm modding to have the extra 2 triggers. And it's also going to get a second thumbstick. This is one that I cannibalized to work with a Raspberry Pi, like a full-size Raspberry Pi 4 for like network diagnostics, so I can use the Ethernet jack. And this is one that I'm in the middle of a project for that everyone's asking for, because this one is going to have USB-C charging and data instead of the headphone board. I've got my everyday use one. It's in the other room. That's my one with the CM5 that I'm doing thermal testing on. It's in the other room. Oh, it's right there. I lied. So that's my one with the CM5 installed and the new heat sinks already in. I've got at least one more somewhere, and then a box of parts from PSPs from, you know, when the PSP was new and I was doing repair work for them. I got a few. I definitely feel you. And I've got a few that will just never turn on again because when I opened it up to fix it, it was when I was still learning how to do stuff, and I just torched a couple of boards. There should be enough to wiggle the board loose. Because I don't want to take, I mean, technically recommended you would remove the Wi-Fi antenna and then just reinstall it later. But I hate doing that. So whenever possible, I just try and leave it installed and get this cable out. One thing I did forget to mention, and because it's so forgettable, when you remove this plate, you got to be very careful. Let's see if I can get this visible. I'm on focus with that straight. You can sort of see it. In here, there's a little rubber piece that has like, see it? Oh, let me change the focus. Oh, hold on. Oh. There we go. So you can see there's a little rubber piece in it. If this thing goes missing, it just won't work. See these little dots in the center? They line up with the train of thought, with the analog stick. If the analog stick isn't detected or isn't working quite right, button presses and the PSPi goes kind of crazy. If you lose that, it's just really annoying to have to eBay one. They're not expensive, but the last thing you want is to be 90% of the way through your mod and then not be able to do anything for 3 weeks while you wait for that piece. Power connector barrel plug. If you aren't experienced, change the focus back. If you aren't experienced with taking these apart at all, I would disconnect the Wi-Fi antenna, because I mean it does make it more difficult to come out. But now, almost everything we take out now, in fact everything we take out now, just doesn't get used. with the exception, I guess, of this. It can go back in, it doesn't have to, it's not necessary. I generally put it back in, that way I just have less leftover parts. Couple of screws left, take out this RF shield. This RF shield does not go back in. In fact, if you were to try and put it back in, one, it wouldn't fit, but even if you were somehow able to get it to fit, you'd pretty much immediately short out the PSPi board and it'd be toast. It goes in the box. Put the headphone board out. The headphone board is where this Wi-Fi antenna hooks onto. That goes into the box. I don't think there's any screws for it on this side. There's one screw here we don't put back in. You can put back in, but I don't. It helps hold in the UMD cover. And speaking of UMD cover, so on this guy, you go from the left-hand side, stick something in, pry it just a little bit, and it pops right. And with it popped, it should just come straight up. Just careful, these clips do like to break, and if they break, then it's always just going to sit in there loose. Take out our last few screws. Might be good if I have the right bit. That screw went fine. Oh, that's it. So you can see, if I can get this thing out. You can see I broke off one of the posts here and it stayed with the UMB drive. It doesn't matter. None of them are needed. You could actually clip off all of these posts. They kind of get in the way when you're using it as PSPi. And that's it. These, plus the screws, are all the parts we use with it. There's also the front shield, but the other one had a massive scratch through it, so I'm not using that one. I've got this other one here. Alright, so now on to soldering. You can avoid all of this soldering. The mod does sell it with the solder avoidance service. If you're fairly decent at soldering, you can probably do this, but if you're unsure or don't want to risk it, it's not expensive. I think it's $30. Don't quote me on that. I could also just go to the site. Okay. And this one is everything you need for the headphone board. Oh, I guess headphone board and power board. Forgot that piece was there. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove these two screws. Take our carrier board. So this board is what allows the CM4 to fit in. CM4 plugs into there and it goes into here. The reason for the carrier port is you can also use a Pi 0 or 02 in here. And it'll work just fine. You just need to make sure you get the Pi 0 firmware port. So these two over there. Now on my PSPis, I don't bother with these screws or in some cases even these posts because I take my PSPi out and put it back in so many times. So it's up to you. So our soldering. We have one piece to solder here, that's for the barrel plug. And then we have these 4 holes here. There are these teeny tiny little pins here that go into them. And that holds the, or that's so the analog stick can make contact. Now, there's one thing I forgot to grab before. It's not there. Normally there's a little thermal pad on these PSPs. And I use that for part of my soldering, but we can just use the included thermal pad for the tip. That aside. Oh, also there's, we solder the headphone port on as well. Now, do you guys want it zoomed in for the soldering, or do you use this view palm? Nobody cares about zooming in or not zooming in for it? Yeah, I can work with that. Go a little bit like this. My head might end up getting in the, oh, my head's dirty. My head might be getting into the shot here and there, but I'll do my best. Soldering iron's going to take a little bit of time to finish heating up. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to step away. All right, let's get to soldering. If you guys change your, or well, actually, if you guys end up having an opinion on zoomed in versus not zoomed in, shoot a message and I'll zoom it in or leave it as is. First things first, we're going to put a little bit of flux down on the points. And with flux, you can never have, well, you can almost never have too much. going to drop this on here. There are 3 pins. 2 of them are easily visible. One of them is like underneath the headphone jack. It can be kind of a pain. Part of the reason I like to use flux on this is it kind of helps hold the part in place. Andy, of course, it's not going to focus any better than that. So, unfortunately, that's what you're stuck with. So what I'm going to do is I tin my tip, especially for the small, hard to reach one. Just tap. The flux should pull it right down to the pen. Tap with my finger. It did connect. Do the other 2. Focus is so much better when you record instead of streaming. There's 2 points there. And we're going to set this aside for the moment. Save the hardest part for last. Now we're going to work on the headphone board. So the headphone board has a bunch of pins down here, but we don't use those. Those are actually for like the remote. So on this, we have 3 places to solder. Here, and there, and there, and one there. Oh, now it focuses. This goes that way. It goes on the back side of the board, on the blank side, and there's 2 little pins here that kind of hold this one. Unlike the other one, this one will hold pretty close to exactly where it needs to. A little bit of flux. For anybody who's like me and is good at soldering and never uses flux, what's the point of this? That kind of crap. Yeah, I really agreed with you until I bought some. It's a game changer. It makes all the difference. This flux will just suck the solder right to where it's supposed to go, and it'll suck it right off the iron. You can just tin your wires and tap. Tin your tip rather and tap. Solder. I always test fit this one. You want to have it fully installed and then find out that the headphone jack doesn't quite line up. It's not a perfectly straight angle. Case in point. Just a little too far to the top, so you pull all the solder and hopefully slowly work it down. Man, it's getting hot. Let's see if that fits in. There we go. And then if you put it in, I'm just gonna leave it there. No need for it to come up there. Okay. Now for the fun part. Hopefully I'll be able to show this. And see how small these parts are. They're like crazy, crazy tiny. You can pick up with tweezers. I can't remember how they made that. Well, just about perfect. Oh. So let's see if I can get this in here. Refocus. It's in. Oh, yeah, you're not. Let's see this. That sucks. So there's a side with kind of a head on it, and it's a little bit smaller and goes in. Yes, I'm in other mods Discord. My screen name is pretty similar there. So Make or Break Society's mobs is who I am in other mods Discord. So these little pins end up going into these little holes. So you know you have them backwards if they don't fit in. So they sit in like that. He always sends 2-ish extras. I think I got one with 3 extras once. Because they're so bloody small that losing them is, it's almost a guarantee you're going to lose at least one. Too close to the end, took it out. Yeah. So there are different ways and different ideas from everyone on how to start using these holes or these pads are, I mean, they've been around for a while now, but they are newer than this project. Originally, there was little, it looked like teeny tiny ball bearings. So getting them to sit in the hole was crazy difficult. So what I would do is I put them all into the holes, and then I would take my thermal pad, normally the one from the PSP, but the one that you get with the PSPi also works. Take your thermal pad, and you drop it on top. So before I figured out this is the better way to do it, you would solder them from the front, and the surface tension on your soldering iron and the solder was such that you end up pulling them out all the time. So you have to try and like hold them in place and solder it on. But because AutoMod does through hole, what I do now is I stick on the thermal pad because it can handle that much heat. The tape wouldn't do it. I stick on the thermal pad and then I tap them with solder from the other side. Flips it up. Oop. Don't set that there. I don't want to ruin my display. Just going to put a crap ton of solder on. And I'm just going to drag solder across it. You don't want to put any pressure on them because it push them right through, right out the other side. Touch up bridges. Normally I don't bother cleaning flux off, but I put a little bit much on here. So we'll get the rubbing alcohol if I need to, but I should just be able to wipe it once I have it. Beauty. Still a little bit in there, but it's good enough for how I normally do it, considering I'm going to leave it on. Now we can take the thermal pad off. The nice thing is if we take the thermal pad off and any of those move, we know that it didn't grab properly on this. All of them stayed in place. And it ends up giving it a pretty clean solder. And all this is supposed to do is just raise them up just a hair. If you've ever seen the original PSP board, that's the same as these pads here. And you can see like they're raised up just a sketch. Not much. And that's all these pins are to do. They raise it up so it makes connection for the joystick. All right, and that's all the solder. Now, I'm going to say in the old days, but it's not actually in the old days. But in the first, as like this is PCB version 1.3. PCB version 1.3. This one was designed January of last year. The boards that were out before it, like the 1.0 board, which I think was just the prototype, which I ordered a set of 5 prototype boards. Actually, if you're interested in seeing, and you know, I'm going to grab one just because I can more easily determine what changed on. So there's a prototype board. So the USB port isn't soldered onto it. You see there's these big grooves into it. But don't, oh. Ha. Hold on. Much better. And you can see on the prototype board, there's these big grooves in it where the USB port goes. and there's no grooves on it anymore on this. As well as the port's completely different now. Port used to have to be soldered in, it doesn't need to be anymore. Other changes that happened, you can see the date has obviously, you can't see that, the silk screen is different. The date is, what's that? August 10th, 2023. Doesn't have a version number on it because this was still a pre-production prototype. Other things that have changed, you can see that a lot of the silk screening, should have left it zoomed in. So silk screening like this one isn't on that board. There's 4 test pads here. These are for RxTX as well as right trigger, left trigger. So this board does support having dual thumbsticks as well as dual triggers, which if you missed the beginning of the stream, I have a board that I'm working on exactly that project with. Whereas this one only had TXRX, so you can only have the dual thumbstick. The board still supported. He had everything set up for doing the triggers. He just hadn't ordered it in, like pulled in test pads up. And on the back, you can see the silk screen. It's got a silk screen layout now. This layout here is for where the Pi Zero sits, and this is where it sits when it's using the CM4 and carrier board. That silk screen is completely missing on this one. These pads here are the same. You don't need them anymore. On the prototype board, you use these pads to program to flash the firmware onto it. They are still here, so if you have a problem, you could do that, but he takes care of all of that before he ships them down. And then, well, that's pretty much it. Not much else has changed aside from the silk screening and like the plating on all these through holes and stuff. That's all changed. I thought more changed. Felt like more changed. All right, but yeah, we're done the technically hardest part. He's made a lot of improvements to make the soldering go easier. He can also get the USB port soldered on the factory now. So that's not a problem anymore. Now we can get to reassemble. Take that off. Put this in first. This goes in. You kind of have to angle it down, get the USB port in. Like that. And make sure all the cables are out of the way. And there's a little clip here at the bottom, right in here. I'm just going to pull back on the board and then push down. Everything properly. It's a little springy on this side. Oh, wait, I won't be pushing over. I'll just put this missing on it. It is still springy on the side, but that's because the headphone board, those pogo pins push up into pads on the other side. And we can plug in this guy. This guy. headphone or the speakers can get plugged in. Where did you go? This button board can go in. This guy can go in. Now, I don't put all of these, I want to put that this way, so I gotta put that in this way. I don't put all of these screws back in, I'm gonna put a couple. Did I take it about this way? Okay. This one back in. Except for a couple of them back in. Ah. This one back. Nope, it's not that one. Only one of these ones goes back in because one of them screws into. Maybe it is a. One of them screws into the. Yeah, you can ignore this one. Oh wait, maybe not. It grabbed. No, it didn't. Yeah, just ignore that one. That one goes with the standoff that snapped off of the UMD drawer. It's really not. Bottom, I can put that one in, I think. One of these ones doesn't go in because it holds the UMD door in place, and I don't ever put that one back in. One of these ones, I think it's this middle one here. And this one doesn't go back in because it's the other one that holds the UMD door in place. And this one goes back in. In my opinion, this one's one of the most important ones. Use the wrong screw. Yeah. Well, since I did a full reassembly, there we go. The reason I think that one's one of the most important ones is that's the one that holds this one in place. If that one doesn't go in properly, it's all wiggly wobbly, it doesn't work half the time. That was very important. Flip up the connector for the display. And then go to the display. Just a reminder for everyone. Technically, the zip connector from the original PSPi display will fit in there. And technically, it'll actually work in display. I think there's a different driver that you need for it, but you won't get a backlight. because there's no place for the backlight to connect in. So you need the high resolution display that other mod sells. You don't have to get it from other mod, you can get it from many different places, but you just get the one from other mod. It's a much simpler process rather than sourcing a display and then not having the right display, and it ends up costing me more in the end. I did find one on Amazon, or not on Amazon, on AliExpress that I'm going to try, but less of a, because I think it's a good idea, and more of a, it was the first, like, looks like it's fairly high quality pin compatible display that I found that isn't the one from, what is it, Bio Display, I think is where other mod gets it from. Make sure it looks like it's in properly. I leave this peel on until after I've booted it off and got that first testing. So now we're going to grab the front shell. We install this. The only reason this came out is we swap shells if you're tuning late, or not shells, but you swap front faces. The other one has a big crack on it right here. Normally you would just leave your joystick in. You just put that in, of course I did. Here. Rub it and stick it on. Just if you're doing this, be careful not to touch the inside. Kind of clean it after is a real pain, especially because if this side isn't perfectly clean, you can't tell which side things are. It becomes a real pain. But this guy in, which goes that way. Oops. And these ones are all keyed, they only go in one way. I should say, they only sit nicely. A nice string just cut out, or just got a random call. Sure. No, it looks like we're good. Okay. Should all stay in place. There. there. I should put the button right on first. Should have done the zip connector first. Yeah, for anybody who's just tuning in, because I said come back around 6 to finally get ready, don't worry, we're almost there. Okay. Just have it pressed fit for now. Now for the Raspberry. So this thermal pad that we used earlier goes right on the die for the Raspberry Pi. Center it best you can. It ends up pressing against the board. And most of the time, if you end up having to take it out, it generally ends up sticking on the outside. And we line up the screw holes. And then we check on the side with a zip connector to make sure that it's all lined up there too. Normally, the writing on the carrier board goes the other way of the writing on the, so they should be opposite direction. Line up, make sure they're lined up good. Push down. I'm going to hold this near the mic, so maybe you can hear. The other side. So we'll make two nice clicks, one on either side, so you know it's connected in both. And this guy slots in there. Oh, wait, no, that. And the Wi-Fi antenna goes up. And then it slots in. And the big thing is, you can tuck this under wherever. Just make sure that it doesn't come between the thermal pad and the main board. Still. Walk it back and forth. And I'm not going to screw it in yet, because we want to test it first. So I will be flashing this SD card, but the winner gets to choose what operating system goes on. So I'm not flashing it yet. Instead, I'm going to take the SD card over this one. Actually, instead of the battery, I'm just going to grab the charge cable. Over the way, we get the orange light indicating that it's charging, even though there's no battery in there, so open charge. Flip it on. Cross our fingers. base. Oh, all right. It's booting. It's booting, but we've got no output on the display. Power it down. Find out why. This is why we don't put the screws in. Even if you've done this 1,000 times and you're pretty sure it's going to work. I'm betting it over, but I didn't push the zip connector and put in far off. And with my backlight, it's generally on that side. Yeah, I can already see it's perfect. Yeah, that looks more solid. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that I had turned off that camera. Not that it really matters. It's not a great view. The good view is down here. Power it on again. Hey, there we go. I'm going to do a 2-second button test, but that's it. I'll do a full test on the buttons and everything once the operating system's chosen. Basically, once there's stuff on it, it'll be easier to figure out. It's the battery out on it, but it shouldn't be. Oh, there we go. The switch was missing on. And you see the on-screen display. There's the battery out. See the brightness indicator. If you flip down the PSPi's Wi-Fi switch, it gets rid of one. It also, the brightness will still pop up. You notice the battery icon's in there. I think there's a Wi-Fi icon up there. I don't know. Lately I've been running this with the 64-bit version, which doesn't support the on-screen display. Also doesn't support audio. But yeah, that's exactly right. A million times I've done this mod, and it boots every time. And then it did. Actually, it's funny. So I was recording the video for too many of these bloody things. I was doing the video for this one for the heatsink version for the CM5. Identical thing happened. Like, of course, I was shooting the video, so yeah, of course. Camera's off. It would never happen. All right, so we're gonna. No, actually, I was gonna check if these are working. So you notice that it's doing like weird glitching. That's because this thing isn't screwed down. It's this damn analog. And normally it's like as you make proper connection, it'll start moving around. That's why I wasn't going to do a full test right now, because when it's like this, it's almost impossible to properly test it. Shut down on it. Right. So now we're going to button up a couple of things, install the battery. Now, the battery is an interesting thing. If you're, as it stands in the shipping rules that I found as of today, if you're in Canada, the United States, or Mexico, the PSPi will come with a battery. If you're from anywhere else, it's not going to come with a battery. Technically, I can still ship it with a battery. But the shipping, I checked it on Australia. The shipping to Australia, just by including this, is like $300. If I don't include this, it's like $40. So you're not getting a battery. It's just because it's ground shipping. Like if I ship it ground, it's fine. But lithium can't fly in an unpressurized plane. So I have to pay to have it shipped in a pressurized plane, and that costs a lot. So if you are from outside of North America, I will send you a link to Amazon in your local country that you can pick them up. They're like $10. If you use, there are many different types of this battery. You can get it from wherever, but if you use not my link, you're going to want to check the polarity on it. So all of my batteries, I think all of my batteries are polarized already. Yeah, they're all polarized correctly. But when it goes in, red top, black bottom. You can see it on the PSPi board. Right in here, there's a plus minus showing you the right way to go. So it goes this way. If it's the other way around, you're going to fry out probably the power management on the board. Don't do it. I will find you the cheapest battery that's already set up with the right polarity. Just buy that one. So let me put it down. So it's going to reach, yeah, it's going to reach. Okay. So there's a little cutout here at the bottom. I like routing the cable through there. Put the UMD cover on. There's a little notch right here that this spring sits into. Set it in the notch, set it in the right side, same as before. And pry on it just a little bit, don't pry too hard, and you'll slot right in. If you're outside of North America, I will put a little piece of Kapton tape here, so taking this out will be fairly easy. Putting it in is still going to be a pain, but it is fairly easy as long as you have something thin that you can stick in there. Check the cable out of the way. There's that, right there. Yeah, everything's sitting all right. We're going to screw it back together, which means I need to take that battery out, but I wanted to make sure I had a way to route it properly. This one in. And if you're wondering and you're tuning in late and didn't watch the full teardown, I'm going to have extra screws. That's intentional. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get reused in this. Anybody waiting for the giveaway, you've got 10 minutes, maybe less. Actually, no, you've got like 3 minutes before I'll run the giveaway. Actually, I'm going to take a 2-second break before we do that. But while we're doing it, I'll explain how I'm going to run it. Actually, since this part's kind of blurry, I'm going to show you the screen. So what I have is I've got another webcam pointed at a monitor. I know I could do a screen capture, but hear me out. I've got another webcam pointed at a monitor that has the giveaway page opened up on. Show you that here. Drop it. So when I do the draw, I click where it says draw winners here. But I'm not going to show this screen when I click that, which I understand might sound sketchy, but hear me out, there's a reason. As soon as I click draw winners, it shows me the first and last name of the winner, as well as the email address. And I am not going to be displaying anybody's email address publicly online. So what I'm going to do, and that's why I'm not doing a screen capture for it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw winners with this screen off. And then I'm going to run over there, do the lowest tech thing you've ever seen, and put sticky notes over top of everybody's email address, because I know the blur tools don't work properly. It's like pretty easy to unblur them, so we're not doing that. So I'm just gonna go manual. I'm gonna stick sticky notes over top of them, and then I'll turn on this camera so everyone can see. Let's go back to this game. Oh, I forgot to take the film off. I'll make sure I take that off before you get given this. So give me a second here, and I'm going to grab all the things you'll be getting as part of the giveaway. Invest a little bit. I don't know if you saw Jeff Geerling's video on it too. Because like I was one of the people who it was like, oh, blur tool's fine, you know, it'll be great on it. And then he intentionally blurred a document and said, hey, you know, if anybody can unblur this, I think he like offered up like $50 or something like that. He's like, if anybody can unblur this. And it was like, what did he say? Like half an hour to an hour later, he had his first message with somebody who'd unblurred the document and like gave him the methods on how to do it. And then like 10 minutes after that, there was another person who unblurred it. So I mean, and they're publicly available tools on GitHub. So like, it's not hard to do. I actually have been meaning to look into it. It sounds fun, but it seems it's that easy to unblur. Yeah, sticky notes are just the way to go. Which, speaking of which, I'm going to go get my sticky notes. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and the giveaway will be happening in about 30 seconds. You know what? I'm gonna go post a message on the other mod Discord. So 2 minutes, and we will do the giveaway. Gave them 2 minute warning. In those 2 minutes, I'm going to figure out something I didn't realize. So the way I've got this set up, I'm not even sure if I can show you. I'll show you after the stream, or if anybody has any questions, wants to see stuff. Um, but the display that this is on, I can't see the display right now. So I have to kind of, this will be interesting. There, I'm going to look like an idiot while I'm trying to roll this because I have to move my mouse across to the other screen, and then I'll be like trying to look over so I can see that I'm in the right spot. And then I'll go over there and pull the notes. Wish I would have thought of this. I could have had a countdown time. You know, while we wait for that, what you'll be getting in the giveaway is you'll get 2 screen protectors. They're kind of pointless. I think they're stupid because they just kind of sit on the front. But you'll get 2 screen protectors. You'll get another mod sticker. Oh, excuse me, another mod sticker. This is the one that came with the most recent kit, but I'm sure I've got like 4 or 5 before. Probably find them right now. You'll get the Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4. It'll come pre-installed. You'll get the SD card, which will also come pre-installed with the operating system of your choice. And you'll get a Sony official charger. These do charge. There may be mild damage on the charger, because again, these are as old as the PSP is. So, oh, it focused for just a second. So you can see there, like, the little yellow ring that goes around it, it's chipped off on this one. It doesn't. It's the one that I use all day, every day. Actually, that one's in pretty good shape. Maybe I'll send this one. I'll send this one maybe instead of that one. There, you get the official charger. I'm not going to include a USB cable, but standard mini B USB cables will work. You saw my video a while ago about connecting a keyboard to it. It works through adapters. I have like 5 adapters chained together to plug in my keyboard, and it worked just fine. It was janky, but it worked. Yeah, so 30 seconds. I'm going to get lined up on this, and 30 seconds we'll do the draw. We got 30 seconds still to enter. Where are you, cursor? Ooh. think that's about it on there. This is so janky. Sorry. Okay, we're lined up. All right, we're going to do the draw in 3, 2, 1. Click. All right, now let's see if it actually hits if I hit the button right. Oh, there's more buttons to click. I'm going to try and turn this motherfucker so I can see it a little better. Yeah. Now, almost that's it. Draw. Okay. Now I'm going to stick it. Oh man, this is going to be hard to stick in. I'm going to need scissors. All right, almost done. Wish I would have thought of a better way to do this. Okay, before I switch the camera over, uh, yeah, I'm like using whiteout. That's funny though. Before I switch the camera over, I want a consensus from you guys. The software shows the city and country. Would it be okay to show that, or should I sticky note those two? Because it shows the full name that you guys entered as well as city and country. I'll wait a couple of seconds because there's like a 15-second delay on the chat. I mean, I feel like showing the city and country is probably okay. I've covered up the email addresses. So it's first, last name, or whatever you filled out on it. And then city and country are shown. Are you guys okay with displaying city and country? Man, this delay is killing me. Fair enough. I will sticky notes again. I'll give you a sort of hint. One of the people won't get a battery, and one of the people will. I can tell you like which general idea part of the country or part of the world like this. All right, guys, I know the suspense is probably killing it because I can see the names. Nobody else can. Okay. Let's see now. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're good. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. So first place with choice, with gets to pick which one of the two they want, is Julius from the Philippines, and then Dennis Moore from the USA. So Julius, I'll be reaching out to you shortly. Actually, I'll be reaching out to both of you shortly. Julius, you'll get an email from me first, so you get to choose whether or not you want the clear or the black. And if you want the clear, Dennis gets the black. If you want the black, Dennis gets the clear. Eric and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm calling you Hex. You guys are the backups. So if Julius or Dennis don't reply to my email, you guys in order will also get picked. I find it interesting that only Eric was picked from the first 100 entries. Neat. All right, so that's the stream. I hope you actually enjoyed it, even if you didn't win. I hope you enjoyed watching the mod. I mean, that's it. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you want to know? Anything you'd like to see? Actually, I'm going to turn that off now. I'm going to turn off the draw cam. If anyone missed the draw while we're still chatting here, just let me know and I'll put it back on. Actually, what I'm interested in are any of those 4 people actually in the chat? I mean, technically, there was only 61 entries. There's like 100 and something total entries, I should say, but there's only 61 entrants. Only 61 people actually entered. Where's my box for these? I was hoping. I mean, if you aren't already in the Discord, in other mods Discord, you should get into the Discord. But I'm in there almost every day. I'm not in there a lot on weekends, but you can always ask questions. And I mean, check my channel. I've got the well, not hundreds. I've got 2 separate series of tutorials on how to put it all together. And again, I can walk you through anything you need. Oh, you didn't even enter. Come on. You should have entered. I mean, your chances of winning were really good, all things considered. I think I actually got, and subscribing to my channel was not a requirement of the draw, but I think I actually got more subscribers out of the giveaway than actually entered the giveaway. I found that really interesting. I had like 80 subscribers, like almost immediately after it was 80. Might not be quite 80, might have been 70 subscribers within like the first 5 days of announcing the giveaway. But there's only 61 entries, and actually, as of this morning, there was only like 52 people who had entered. I found that highly entertaining. So I don't know if it was just a spike in subscribers, just cuz, or if there was just a bunch of people who checked out the channel, subscribed to the giveaway video, and then never actually entered the giveaway. Which, I mean, I suspect that's it. Yeah, I will likely be emailing Julius today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. I probably should email him today. That way, second place can know what they're getting. Yeah, I'll send it today. If I know nobody answered it, but if anybody who did win is in the chat, I'll be emailing from an at rmobs.ca, rmobs.ca. Anytime, buddy. All right, I guess with that, I'm going to call it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, remember, it doesn't matter if you make a break, as long as you're having fun.